Hey everyone, I wanted to jump on here really quickly and give you guys a little update on our homeschool and share with you something that I'm changing at least for the month of March. So I thought this would be something that maybe some of you are struggling with and dealing with as well, and maybe it would just be an encouragement to you. So I'm going to share what we're changing for the month of March at the end of the video, and I'll give you a quick just update on how a few things are going. First, if you are wondering, I am in our guest room here, so there's my sign, Simply Blessed, so hopefully our guests feel simply blessed when they come visit us. But this room has the best lighting and I can see the kids, so I am actually holding the phone on my arm, with my arm. So I am so sorry if it is just shaking wobbly, but I am trying to squeeze in videos when the Lord gives me some time, and I don't have time to set a whole bunch of stuff up and lighting up. So we're just going to do it right now. Anyways, here is our homeschool update. So we got a late start in the school year with our move, and so and we also homeschool year round, so I should say that. So we will probably end up doing school all the way through July, maybe even into August. So most of my kids are about halfway through the majority of the curriculum. Some of them are farther along than halfway through. Some of them aren't even halfway through, but I feel like we're at a good spot. Everybody's at a good spot in all of the different subjects, considering that we're going to probably go through the end of July or August. So I feel like we're doing good. I've got one child who loves history and science, and they are almost done. I mean, I think they have, well, they finished science actually already, and I think they have just a couple more weeks of history. And I am just going to let that child either take a break, or if they just love history and science so much, we'll just find different resources from the library and things that we can give them to enjoy more science and history. But that child has plowed through the curriculum. I have another child, my 6th grader, is finishing up the Matthew C. Zeta. I think it's Zeta. It is the decimals and percents, or percents and decimals book. And I think she has maybe, I don't know, just 1 or 2 lessons left, so she should be done in the next week or 2. And normally when I have a child who finishes a curriculum early in the year, they're done and they can just take a nice little break from that subject, or we will just move right on into the next thing for that subject, whatever that would be. So I feel like I have a couple options for her. One is that she could just be done with math until next year. We could move right on into pre-algebra and just keep going, or we could get something else and just kind of supplement and keep her math skills fresh. So I am not real keen on her just taking a break till next year, because that's going to be about 5 or 6 months. And that is a long time to take a break from math, especially since if you don't use it, you lose it. At least I do. So I'm afraid that we would spend way too much time in the beginning of the school year next year reviewing things that she's forgotten. So I don't want to take that long of a break. I also don't feel like I need to rush her into pre-algebra. She's not a math. I don't think she's going to, go into a math career in her adult life. So at this pace that we're going, if she does pre-algebra next year, she could get all the way up to calculus. And I don't really think that's where she's headed in terms of what she's interested in and what she'd want to do and what she'd need for, going on to college or not or whatever. But, she can at least get to calculus if we do pre-algebra next year. And so I don't think there's any rush in moving right into pre-algebra. So what I want to do with her is, I think I want to just keep her skills fresh, maybe review some things. Everything that she's learned up to this far is really foundational. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, knowing how to use percents and fractions and find the area and perimeter of things. Those are things she's going to most likely use in life. And so I want her to really have a good foundation in those. And I think she has a pretty good foundation now. But since we do have time to reinforce things, I'd like to find something to help her be able to practice and work on some things. There were some things over the last, 6 years of her schooling that she struggled in different areas of math. So I think going back and reviewing those and reinforcing those would be a good idea. So what I really wanted to do was try out math lessons for a living education level 6. I thought she would really enjoy that. I know she would. I know she would love it. And I think it would be just a fun math experience for her. And it would be a good, good reinforcement, keep her math skills fresh and all of that. Another option that we have is to do BJU Press 6th grade math through the distance learning program, because we bought the whole 6th grade math kit. So we have it sitting at our house. It's kind of free to us right now. We paid for it, but I don't have to go and purchase it. It's at our home. We have it. And so it would make sense to use it. So those are kind of my two options. I've got about a week or two to think about what I want to do. And if we're going to go with math lessons for a living education, obviously I need to order that. And I think they have level 6 out. Gosh, I don't even know. If you use anything from Masterbooks, let me know. I am just loving everything I see on their website lately. And so I've used some of their stuff in the past, but they've got a lot of great stuff out again. So I'm just throwing this out there. Didn't plan on talking about this, but next year, I'm telling you, I think a lot of my stuff is going to either be Masterbooks or BJU Press. I think those are the two that I'm really debating about for almost every child, is probably a little bit of both of those, but we'll see. Still have plenty of time to think about it and change my mind. You know how that is, right? We change our minds so many times before we actually purchase the curriculum. So anyways, I think she'd really like the math lessons for a living education 6, but we do have BJU Press 6. So we will see. My husband just got laid off from work, so we might be going with BJU just because we're going to be kind of tightening up the budget and holding on and praying that the Lord provides a job for him soon. So that's another little update. I don't think I've shared yet out on social media, but my husband did get laid off. So his last day is actually Friday. Today is Tuesday. I have no idea when you'll be watching this because I don't know when I'll have the time to edit it. But most likely when you're watching it, we will be unemployed and without a job and without an income for a while. So be praying for us. Anyways, those are kind of my just quick updates. Just halfway through the year, I think we're doing pretty good. Got some kids that are already done with things and all of that. But what I wanted to share with you is what I've decided to do and change up for the month of March with one of my kids. So I have a child who's struggling with reading, and we have been making a lot of effort to try to really work on that and improve that. And what I'm finding with this child is that they really don't want to put a lot of effort into improving their reading skills and working on some different aspects of reading and phonics and even spelling, even though they're a pretty good speller, but just that whole, language stuff. They don't want to put a lot of effort into it because they just want to be done with school and they've got other subjects. So I need to spend time. I need to do extra reinforcement. I need to do extra activities and extra things to work with this child. But I know that if I add that on to their already, pretty full workload, they're not going to absorb or learn anything or grow in their reading at all. Because they're just going to be so overwhelmed. So what I decided is that we are going to drop everything else. We're going to keep going with math, and we are going to really work hard on reading and spelling, and everything else is just going to take a back seat. And this child has a favorite subject, and if they'd like to do their favorite subject, then by all means, I would love for them to be able to do their favorite subject and move along in that. But for the month of March, we're going to do math, and we're going to really be focusing on spelling and reading. And that means that for about 20 days, so 5 days a week for 4 weeks, that's 20 days. For about 20 days, we are not going to be doing all these other subjects. And so I know that there's going to be the question from many of you, well, what are you going to do? because now you're 20 days behind. Well, I don't think of it that way. We are not going to be 20 days behind in these other subjects. So I don't feel like we are going to be behind at all in those subjects, because really what we're doing is focusing on the basics, and that's the most important thing. We're going to keep working away at math. We're going to focus on getting a good foundation in language. And if we don't have a good foundation in language, then even if this child learns math, learns science and history really well, they're going to struggle with understanding the information and being able to communicate the information. If they don't have foundational language skills down, they're going to struggle in just English in the whole writing process. So we're going to focus on the basics, because that's what this child needs, and that's what homeschooling is so great at, is being able to stop, put other things aside, and focus on what our children need to focus on. And so what I'm going to do with those other subjects is I'm just going to look through the curriculum, and I'm going to cut out roughly 20 days, about a month's worth of work and assignments out of there, so that we can still end at about the same place that I anticipated us ending in the curriculum. I'm just going to look through and say, hey, what does this child not necessarily need to learn this year? Maybe they're going to learn it next year or in years to come. What things are just not as important as other things? And I'm just going to make sure that when we jump back into history and science and English, that we'll be doing the things that are most important, and we'll be letting those other things go. And that's okay. I'm not worried. I'm not stressed. I've done this before and it's turned out okay. So I just wanted to encourage you, if you have a child who's really struggling in a particular area, especially if it's one of the basic things, language or math, that it is okay to set the other subjects aside and really focus on those. And if you have a child like I do, sometimes we have to cut out all of the other stuff for that child to be able to really have the attention and the focus and the desire to invest in learning and improving and growing in that area that they're struggling in. So that's the change that we're making for March for one of my children. We're just going to focus on reading and math and let everything else go and really just work on those, and hopefully we'll see some improvement. If I see some great improvement in a week or two, then we'll just do it for a week or two. If we need to do it longer than a month, we'll do it longer than a month. But my goal is at the end of March, we'll reevaluate and see what we need to do. So that's a little update from me. I hope this camera wasn't too wobbly and shaky, because I'm thinking this might be the way to go to get videos out to you, is just grabbing my phone and holding it up in front of my face, finding some good light and chatting with you this way. So hopefully this was helpful and encouraging, just giving you a little update, and I hope to see you real soon in another video.